All right, hello everyone. Thanks for joining us for Leadership Talks. This is a weekly webcast series brought to you by Security Systems News. My name is Paul Ragusa. I'm the editor for the publication, Security Systems News, and I'm very excited to have Tom Maggio. He's the owner of ProActive. It's a company that specializes in storage and monitoring solutions. Tom, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
I thought it would be good just to, I kind of define the company as saying you specialize in storage and monitoring solutions. Before we get to the company, I know you have a long history in the industry. Can you kind of take us back to how it all got started?
Sure. I started in this industry when I was 12 years old, 27
Wow.
years ago. Started doing a residential alarm system at Demco. I went through the ranks. I spent the first 18 years of my career doing installations of all sizes, from alarms, cameras, running really the whole gamut. Eventually moving into sales and service and tech support, quite literally doing just a little bit of everything. Then about 11 years ago, I actually started my own integration company as a basement of my house, like most, and grew that to a point which eventually led to the creation of ProActive data storage and monitoring.
Oh, very cool. So tell me a little bit more about the company. I know, it's a pretty broad definition I gave. You specialize in storage and monitoring solutions, but can you kind of give us an idea of what the company's founded on? What are some of your principles? What are you looking to, I know you're looking to obviously solve some really big problems in our industry, right?
Yeah, well, that's exactly correct. As an integrator, I've seen a lot of gaps in the industry, and most of it is really related towards the relationships that I have with my end users, and the stress that could be put on that relationship. Even though as an integrator we work so hard with this competitive market and industry that we're in, and I guess really the best way to explain it is an experience that happened to me that really changed the way I thought about everything. I'm based here in New York. My company's based in New York, and I had a client probably about 6 years ago give me a call, and like any time that a client doesn't have video that they need, the client was very upset. And once I was able to calm down and actually understand what was happening, client had somebody shot and killed in his building. He went to go find the video, and the video wasn't there. I asked the client when the last time he looked at his video was, and he said 6 months ago. And I made it very clear that in his contract, it's his responsibility to let me know if something goes wrong so that I can come and fix it.
Yeah.
Well, lo and behold, the hard drive crashed, and the guy did not have his video. I was obviously mortified, and so was he. And from that moment on, I swore that I would not allow that to happen to my clients. I recognized that although really it was not my responsibility as an integrator, it was something that I needed to do. I needed to make a difference. The client quite literally said to me, "Tom, I spent all this money. Shouldn't the system just work?" Fortunately, technology, brownouts with electrical, especially in New York here, all of that could affect that technology. It could affect the power supplies. And if nobody's looking at that system, none of it matters. And the reality from what I've seen as an integrator is the industry is reactive in general. Cameras are used not to view live, but to go back and find a recording and for evidential purposes. So when I started looking into becoming a software developer and hiring a software developer for my integration company, that was really the primary goal. It was to be able to identify if something were to go wrong with a system so that I would know about it in real time. My tech support department could know about it, and we could alert that client. And probably the most prominent case I could speak of in regards to this, and I actually received a couple of accommodations for it, but the Boston bombing happened on a Monday. And on Friday, before that, we received an alert from one of our systems that a machine went offline. Happened to be one of my accounts. It also happens to be the very same video that the FBI released of the Boston bombers turning that corner and saying this is the first image, which showed the brothers. And we got an alert. We called the client, let her know that the system was offline, and she went back to find out her employee unplugged the DVR to plug in his iPhone. Lord only knows if that would have ever been plugged in again. And that's part of it. And then as time started leading on and as time started going on and we got into software development phases, I started getting requests for people to ask me for data long beyond anything that's actually being stored. I mean, people were asking me for 6 months all the way up to 2 years. Once I started getting enough of these requests from my tech support department, I started to understand what was going on. I reached out to each one of these clients and I asked every single one of them, why do you need to go back so far? And they all had the same exact answer. I'm getting sued. Slip and fall claim, a workman's comp case. So I went to trusty old Google. I Googled statute of limitations for liability. Here in New York, statute of limitations for liability claims is 3 years. So then my goal became, in order to be unique as an integrator, how do I accomplish storing the full length of statute of limitations for my clients? But there's a huge, huge piece of this. It has to be affordable. From a sales perspective, the client needs to be able to purchase this, and I need to be able to make some money on it as well. Going back 5.5 years ago, that really was not that great of an option. It was very difficult. So we started creating our own methods. And that's really kind of the I guess you could say the long-winded answer as to how I got to where I am today.
No, there was nothing long-winded about that. That was really interesting. And the series is called Leadership Talk, so I did want to ask you about this. Company culture. I know you have a long history in the industry, your own integration company. Can you talk about the importance of leadership, company culture, and how that kind of trickles down?
From a leadership role, I'm a solutions-based guy. I look at solutions. And when you look at solutions towards anything, it has to be creative. So I encourage creative freedom across the board. And it's really, I think, probably from a cultural standpoint, it's what really separates my company on a lot of different levels, is everybody has the creative freedom to make this company better. It's what allows us to keep our eyes and ears open and allows us to grow, quite literally, culturally and through leadership. It allows me to hear what my people are saying and my people are thinking when they're talking to my clients, right? So it's all about creativity. It's all about open doors. It's all about being transparent.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's a really collaborative environment, and that's really, I think, the key, because the more people you can involve that you think could provide maybe some value or some great idea, that that you never know what you get out of that. Someone just has some great idea out of nowhere, and it's an aha moment. But maybe if you didn't reach out to him, you didn't get that idea. So I like that.
It's happened several times, and I laugh because I've had one of my guys walk through my office and say, "I have an idea. I want to do this," and then he walked to his desk. That idea turned into an RMR stream worth $5,000 a month.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, you never know. Yeah? You never know.
It's just exactly to your point.
Cool. All right. Well, I do want to switch gears a little bit. I just got back from the Cloud Plus conference that we put on in Austin. It was a really great event, fun event. So I know cloud is an important part of what you do. So can you talk a little bit about the role of cloud in your storage and monitoring solutions?
Sure, and thank you. So yes, cloud is very important. However, cloud has its challenges. And speaking on the creative side, really what makes me special is this algorithm that we've created for video. And we're able to archive massive amounts of video in very short amounts of storage, right? Very small amount of storage. So 16 cameras at 1080p, I could record 3 years on 8 terabytes of storage.
Wow.
Being that little, when we're usually doing 4 terabytes per month, being that little, what that really what that really relates to is the amount of bandwidth, the amount of storage, and cloud storage in general is accumulative. That's how cloud works. It's not rocket science. It's all public data. Google Enterprise, Amazon, they're typically a penny a gig. The more gigs, the more you spend. The longer you want to save that, again, that accumulates, right? So our goal to make it easy for the integrator as well as the end user was to, again, keep it cost effective, right? So one of the pieces of cost effective when it comes to cloud storage is bandwidth. Still, nationally speaking, we're still at 2 megabits upload speed. So that was a major issue. And part of this algorithm that we've created here is we're able to send 16 cameras at 1080p, for example, on 0.7 megabits per second, when an average 1080p camera takes up a meg per second each. So your typical line for that would be 16 megs versus 0.7 megs, making it applicable and making it so that the end users don't have to upgrade their bandwidth in order to store. Now, the cost of that obviously is also relative, because when you're accumulating that kind of data and you're seeing all of this transpire, the cost of the actual storage itself is so minimal, it is very cost effective, and it is something that clients can use to protect their video, right? So our theory is triple level redundancy. I am not a guy looking to replace or compete with any of the large VMS or DVR systems out there. I am an archiving-based solution, on-site and off-site, right? So ideally what happens, and what a lot of our certified partners are doing these days, is they're recording storage, their standard 30 days on-site, then they're recording long-term on-site with our compression servers, right? So they might do a year or two on-site, and then they're pushing that off-site as well. So they would have 30 days, the end user ultimately has 30 days on-site through their DVR. Let's just say, hypothetically, a year on-site with our compression server, and then they've got another year in the cloud. Ultimately, what that really does is that makes sure that that client has that video when they need it at all times.
Yeah, and that's interesting. So you've created basically like a unique compression algorithm that you're using?
Correct.
That's interesting. Okay. And I know you mentioned the data. The customers, are they interested in doing, other than obviously going back and seeing particular events, are you going to be working with partners, for example, to maybe help them leverage some of that data? Is that something that you get into?
We are truly here to help. Any which way we can help. Any conversations I have with integrators that are looking to leverage this data, leverage our software in order to be able to accommodate certain needs. So the answer is yes. We're always open-minded. I had an integrator come to me for construction sites, and they were saying that construction sites needed to do 2 years of storage, yet they also wanted to keep a constant stream of up-to-date time-lapse recordings, and they wanted to post that on their website. So using our software, we were able to do this within about 5 minutes and making it fractions of what the industry standard as far as doing time-lapse on construction sites. We were able to actually provide that for the client. And so now, basically the way it goes is they've got their 2 years on site, and what's happening is we are taking a snapshot an hour, sending it to our cloud, stitching it all together, and streaming that to the construction company's website, and you quite literally get an up-to-the-hour update of a time-lapse recording of that construction site, even a year and a half later.
That's very cool. Very cool. It's amazing what we can do now. So what are some of the other trends that are you seeing? Are you keeping your eye on certain things right now in the industry? Maybe new technologies?
Of course. We're always looking at what's going on. So H.265 is an obvious one. The higher the quality, what we're getting a lot of now, and we're seeing a lot of, is the requirements for the storage, right? So we're really trying to focus on basing our software and making sure that we're able to really do anything we can to make sure that these requirements are being done, and we're able to offer the solutions that the end users are looking for and needing to be able to run their business and abide by the requirements that they've got. So the cannabis industry, municipalities, we're able to really accommodate anything at a level which is way beyond what's really available or affordable in the marketplace. And that's really where our focus is really to make sure that we have a solution where integrators and end users can use easily, and they could focus on doing what they have to do best, right? And that's running their business. At the same token, knowing that they truly have peace of mind, knowing that that video is being archived and stored for however long they need it.
Yeah, that's good. Now, how about...
So that's really our focus. That's what I pay attention to more than anything else. And going with the technology, of course, growing with that.
Yeah, that's good. I'd love to get your perspective just on the industry in general. I know, you're the role as an integrator and now as kind of a software developer as well, especially with the convergence of, physical and IT. What's your thoughts on the industry right now? Are we heading in the right direction? Are we still a little slow to get where we need to go? What's the potential here in the industry?
Oh boy, the industry is moving at light speed. The industry is moving at light speed. We're going back to coaxitron technology over coax, which is it's mind blowing to me. Yet I love the opportunity to work with coax because it actually has more bandwidth than Cat5. But overall, I see a very fine line in the sand being drawn more than ever before with the digital over analog, TVI, CVI technology and the IP technology, the cloud technology that's coming out and the analytics that's coming out. I see a very fine line being drawn here, and it's very interesting. That line is really dividing the verticals to enterprise and professional, let's just say, right? And the residential is much more of a do-it-yourselfer type of thing nowadays. So I'm seeing that line being drawn, and I'm watching it all happen, and I think it's pretty clear, right? Because you've got these unbelievable technologies that are at a price point that the enterprise can afford. However, the professional versions can't afford. The regular religious facilities and privately owned schools may not be able to pull the trigger on technology like that. So I see that line, but the technology itself is growing faster than I've ever seen it. I think we're talking every 3 months, people are releasing new things, and it's absolutely mind-blowing. Absolutely, I think we're going in the right direction. I think we're going in the right direction. I think some of it is moving too fast, but I think we're certainly moving in the right direction.
Yeah, and it seems like someone hit the acceleration pedal. Like, when not too long ago, this industry was, slow to respond to new technologies, but it seems like we've been kind of kicked in the butt here with the convergence of IT and all this new tech that's kind of really influencing industry now. So I think we have time for one more question. So I did want to ask you, we're heading into the new year here. What are you looking to do in 2018? What are some of your goals?
Oh boy. The last quarter, we have completely shattered our projections, last quarter of this year, and 2018 is certainly looking to do the same. My goal is to get the word out there further. We'll be doing shows. I've been flying under the radar for quite a bit now. Obviously, with this kind of technology, I don't want people catching on so quickly. So we're now really starting to hit the ground very, very hard. We'll be at ISC West and a couple of other shows. I'm doing a lot of traveling to support my integrators, my manufacturer reps out in the marketplace, as well as sit and do any demonstrations for end users. To do anything we need to do to really support our goal here, and that is to truly make it known that we have a solution to the marketplace that is affordable and can really make sure that the clients have exactly what they need when they need it, as I mentioned, and really focus on that relationship for the integrator and the end users alike, right? Make sure that they're keeping that relationship and the client retention, which is really all we've got right now as an integrator, making sure that we're able to help with that from the integrator side.
Yeah, that's a great point to end on. I did want to get a quick plug in before I say goodbye, Tom. We have our TechSec Solutions Conference coming up February 26th and 27th in Delray Beach, Florida. Going to be announcing that program soon, so keep an eye out for that. Very excited. All right, Tom, it was great talking with you again, especially a fellow Long Islander. So thank you.
Well, thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for listening. I really appreciate everybody's time.
All right, thanks. And thanks, everyone, for tuning in for another edition of Leadership Talks. We'll be back next week with a new one. Thank you. Bye, Tom.